What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Love and Rice Podcast with your host, Aunt Ma.
I'm your other host, Christina.
Make sure you guys subscribe and follow us on all social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram, Love and Rice Podcast. We're also on YouTube and all podcast platforms such as Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Make sure you guys give us a good rating on Spotify. Help bump this up in the algorithm. We appreciate you guys listening to this. We're on episode 27. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about why men feel women are so clingy.
I feel like that's a topic that usually always comes up.
It does quite often. You know, like in the last episode, we were talking about moving in with your partner.
Right.
And that's kind of adding to this because, you know, that makes men feel clean, like women are clingy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I feel like it happens in both ways, right? Men can be clingy, women can be clingy. From my experience as the male perspective, it's just obviously the women are more clingy. So that's what I see.
Yeah. And to me, I think it just really depends on the person. But generally, I think it's just something that just kind of depends on how the men and the women are raised. Like, it's just so different.
I think that's a true point. So what are some examples of being clingy?
I would say probably like waiting around and trying to like text each other all day. Probably trying to make sure like that you're in contact with the other person like throughout the entire day.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, I'm not saying it to you personally, but I'm saying like in general, like when sometimes people will obsess over texting with the other person. And then if they don't get a text back from the other person right away, they're like, oh, they get anxious and they're like, what are they doing? Like, who are they with? How come they're not texting me back? Like, do they not care about me and stuff like that?
Yeah, you do that when I don't respond right away. You're like, hello.
Well, sometimes, yeah, because I will see you on your phone and I'm like, respond to me. I need to know something. It's more of when it's something that's urgent where I'm like asking you a question before I can do something.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I haven't read it yet because I'm in the middle of doing something else, right? It's just like if I'm in my office on my computer doing work, but I'm on my phone doing it, I haven't gotten to your message yet.
Yeah, so it depends.
Right? So women, don't think that we're ignoring you and trying not to respond. We might be trying to finish something first before we get to the next thing.
Yeah. But still, no, it depends. I don't do that to you all the time. It's more so of like if I need to know something and I'm like, can you just let me know now?
Yeah.
So I can get it done too.
Yeah.
Like both of us need to get stuff done.
So what are your own examples that you've seen in your relationships of clinginess?
To me, clinginess is like the other person wanting to spend time and be with me all the time and constantly having to see me or wanting to be in communication with me.
You've had guys like that?
Yes, a lot of guys.
What?
That were like that. Yeah.
Why? Well, how does that make you feel?
Well, cause for me, like when I was younger too, like I wanted my independence. I didn't want to feel like I was being like tracked all the time and I just wanted to do my own thing. I didn't want people to like be so soft with me and want to wait around on me and like just want to like I don't know. I think it was more of like the nice guy thing and kind of just like being too, what is the word? Like feeling like they're just too like in love or obsessed.
There's a difference there between clinginess and waiting for you. I feel like waiting for you is more of guiltiness of doing things without you. So like in all of my relationships, I've also been the person that always waits. So
okay.
it's like, I don't know, if I wanted to do something and you're doing something else and I want to do something together with you,
right?
I'm going to wait.
Okay.
Right. It's not, to me, that's not clingy. It's just like, I would feel guilty if I did things without you.
Oh, I see.
And also because maybe the girl's going to bitch about it.
Maybe.
Later.
I guess in the past, I felt like guys were so clingy because like they would just always want to like hang out with me. But I'm like, I got other stuff to do or like I don't have time, you know? And it's kind of just being like, oh, okay, well, next time, you know? And I'm like, I didn't like that. Like that was one thing I didn't like from guys.
You know, when you're in the beginning of a relationship, like boyfriend, girlfriend, during that time, I do feel like that is clingy, right? When they're like, I want to be with you all day, every day, right? But now that we're married and we've been together for so long, we don't have that, right?
No.
It's more of like a different type of clingy where to me, and this also happens when you're like, a year into a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, and it's kind of the same factor where it's like the clinginess that I see is when the girls do too much to the guy when they don't want it. So here's my example.
Let me guess. Are you gonna say when I don't want to eat something, and then you're gonna always offer it to me, and you offer it to me like 100 times?
Yes, because that's not just you. That's your sister.
Yes.
I see her do it to her boyfriends.
Yes.
That's what some girls do to me in the past. So it's like this. Okay, here's a prime example of what it's too much for me. Okay, so I'm eating my food. Christina's eating her food. And then she goes, do you want some? And I'm like, no. Do you want it? Are you sure? No, I don't want it.
It's like, are you sure?
Right. And you ask like about 3 times.
Yeah.
And by the 3rd time, I'm like, no, I don't want it. And then, so like from that interaction, but it happens every day. And you're like, damn, dude, like no is no.
Wow. So and we're talking about food right now.
To me, that's clingy. It's like providing that nurturing side of a female, like a mom, that I as a guy don't want or need.
I don't even see that as clingy. I would see it as like being nurturing. Because
that's what I just said.
You said clingy. I said
nurturing. As nurturing.
You said as clingy.
No.
Said, play it back. He said clingy. You said you see it as clingy, but it's actually.
I said when it's on the woman's side, you're seeing the nurturing and the mom nurturing stuff. To me, that is clingy.
That's so weird though, because.
So like the other example of the food thing is when the guy is watching TV and the girl comes over with a bowl of food or something, and she puts the spoon in front of the guy's face, and he's like, mm-mm. And then she does it again, and you're like, mm-mm. Like that's to me another clingy where it's like, yo, dude, it's too much. Just back up. Because I see your sister do that. She goes like this to her boyfriend, and he's like,
I'm like, I don't do that to you.
Yeah, you do.
Not with a spoon. If it's like a chip, I'll be like, here you go. Or I'll put the bag in front of you or snacks.
Yeah, like I some guys like it when the women feed them, and they love it. They love that. But maybe I don't want to do that. Like I just want to do it myself.
You're a special guy.
I don't like things in my face. Especially when I'm just being what? Wait, what? What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
Oh, no. What are you trying to say? What is that?
So if I put my boobs in front of your face, you're not gonna like that?
Of course, but we're not talking about boobs. We're talking about food when I'm watching TV or on my computer doing work.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right? In the middle of distraction. When it's boobs, I'm already doing something with you. So why would I? You know what I mean?
So should I do that then? If I'm like, oh, maybe should I give him the snack and see if he wants it? Should I put my boobs in your face first and then be like, okay, I got your attention. Do you want some?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is stupid. But I feel like it goes back to like the way that we were raised, because I feel like when you were growing up, didn't your mom always do that to you too? And it's like, no. Oh, really? Because my parents, both of my parents, my dad and my mom would always do that. You want more? Eat more. And my grandparents, my grandma specifically.
My grandparents, yes.
Yeah. So.
But you're not my grandma. You're my girlfriend. You're my wife. You're my partner. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Okay. You guys are not the grandmas as a partner.
Yeah, I think because for women, it's like the way that we show that we care is by being nurturing. And then to guys, you feel like success and doing well in life is like to do things on your own and being independent. And that's the difference, because even Leia does that to you too.
No, I just don't like to be smothered.
Oh.
It's too invading of my space.
Gotcha.
And that's a big clingy no for me.
Okay.
It's the invasion of space.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with trying to be successful and work and all that stuff. It's just,
well, yeah, you just like your space and you like to be able to do things on your own. I
just want to like I'm the guy that has to like zone in on things. Mm-hmm. So when something comes into my peripheral, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, get out of there. Like, I'm not ready for you for that.
Yeah.
And then if I say no, it's like, don't keep going into my space, right? So, that's my biggest clingy thing. What are some other examples?
I don't know. So far, we said one thing about the texting, wanting to hang out with each other all the time.
Yeah, responding to each
Yeah.
other. Um, I think another is when, this isn't us, but when the guys try to go out with their guys or whatever.
Oh, and then the
And
girl doesn't want you to,
no, not that she doesn't want you to,
or
that
she
she
wants
wants
to
to
come
join.
along. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Girls always want to stay with the guy and do everything with the guy, right? So, like,
Mm.
if the guy has his own schedule, right, before even meeting you, he's got to wake up, work out, go to work or school, you know, and it's like, now it's like, okay, the woman is involved in everything. Now
Yeah.
she wants to work out, which is great, right? The guy loves having a partner to work out. Then it's like, okay, let me drop you off at work. Or at work, it's like, hey, during your lunch break, I'm gonna come eat and drop off food for you on your lunch break and all that stuff. Like, that's great, but I think there needs to be some sort of communication in between where it's like, when is it okay? When is it too much?
That's true. Yeah, it's like if you're at work and then the other person just wants to constantly like bring stuff to you every day and you're like, no, I want to do my own thing. Like I don't want to see you for lunch. Like no offense, but I just want to have my
Right.
own time to do my own thing and I'll see you later.
Because
type
after
of thing.
work, we're gonna see them for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So
True.
it's like, I mean, you just need your own space sometimes.
Yeah.
How about here's one. When you're in the beginning of a relationship
Okay.
and the girl calls all the time and you're like,
Mm.
fuck. She calls because you know that it's gonna be a long talk, or it's just gonna be like when you pick up the phone and then the girl's like, hi, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm doing this and this, and you're trying to do your thing, and then she just keeps talking, and you're like, like that's,
Yeah, I mean, I guess
calling because you're bored.
Oh, I guess it depends because like when I was a teenager or like in college, right, I couldn't go out or do much. So like my pastime and what I was able to do was like talk on the phone sometimes. So it's like when
Yeah.
I am able to talk on the phone, I want to talk as long as I can.
Yeah, when we're like 15,
Yeah.
18, right? But then like as you get older, I don't know, it's the small talk is like you got other things to do.
True, but then also when it's like the beginning of a relationship, I feel like it's important to prioritize it as well because for girls, it's like when you first start dating a guy, I think girls get insecure because you don't know when a guy is serious and you don't know when they're messing around. Like you
Yeah.
don't know from that beginning. So it's like when they don't communicate with you or like they're doing their own thing, they're not responding to you, then you're just like, so what am I doing? Like
Yeah.
are we serious? Like, am I wasting my time? Like, let me know.
Yeah, I totally get that. That's like the first few months when you're serious about someone, you want to talk.
Yeah.
You want to respond and everything. Like you are waiting for that.
Right.
I can't wait to talk to her. But after a while, when everything's nice and settled,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, when does it stop?
Gotcha. Because I feel like once things are more solidified and then like it's official and you know that you guys are serious about each other, right?
Yeah.
Then it should kind of not be as like intense.
Right, because even in the beginning of the relationship, there's times when it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna call off work so I can stay home with you or
Yeah.
spend time with you, right? But then it's like a year later when the girl keeps asking, well, you used to take off work for me and da 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 da, and it's like, well, actually, I do have to work. I can't keep doing this all the time. It's
Yeah, you
just-
have to be more responsible.
yeah. So, I sound like the guy who doesn't appreciate women right now, and it's not that. I definitely appreciate every relationship that I've been in and ours and everything. And I'm talking about past all that where like everything is all settled and we're talking about this clinginess.
Yeah.
Like I in the beginning of relationships, I love it when there's all the attention and everything because as a guy, you wait all day for the girl to call and to talk to her. Like you love that part, but it gets to a point where it's like a year down the line or 2 years, it's like, is she becoming a overbearing mom?
Okay.
If it was a first date and you fed me, that's cute, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it. I'll take your food because there's a respectful gesture, but that's also because we're at dinner focusing on each other,
Right.
right? But later down the line, we're not focusing on each other. It's we're doing something, and then the woman comes in the picture and starts trying to feed in.
I think there's just it depends on how you respond to it too. Because some people can respond nicely to it
Right.
and accept
So
it, or some people would hate it.
so this is where the next conversation comes in, where it's like, when do women realize that they're being too clingy when the guy says, "Hey, I'm good"? But women they tend to not understand that and they just keep going.
Yeah, because even we're having this difference in how we perceive things too. It's like you see me trying to offer you something as clingy, but I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to make sure you're good. Because sometimes
Right.
I'll see that you are barely eating something or you miss meals sometimes, and I'm like, hey, like take care of yourself. And I say that all the time, and I'm like, we are always telling our kids, do this, make sure you eat enough, make sure you drink enough milk and have enough water, blah, 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 be healthy. But then when you're not doing it, I have to be like, hey, I have to check you too and be like, you need to eat something.
So yeah, there's two different mentalities right there, right?
Yeah.
In the moment, I'm like, I'm a man. I don't care about if I eat or not right now. I don't give a shit. I'm a man. Leave me alone. I need to do this right now, right? And we're not understanding your point of view where you're like, I just care about you and I want to make sure you're fed. Actually, if I stop and think about that, I'm like, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? That's great. But the guy is telling you, I don't give a shit. like let me just keep doing this thing real quick.
And so like so I am like that too, because like you're working so much and then sometimes I'll see that you're missing meals and stuff. And I'm like, well, he needs more fruit. He needs more healthy stuff, right? He needs more exercise, something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a whole new ballgame you just brought up.
Yeah, it's all of these things because I'm like, later on down the line, what's going to happen when he's not taking care of himself? He starts getting health issues. He can't take care of the kids and myself.
God.
He gets sick. I have to take care of him because he's not able to. Like, you have to think about these things.
So if you give the guys independence, he will take the time to
He will fuck it up.
No, he will be like, okay, now I have time to go work out. You know what I mean? And things like that. Or I have time to go play some basketball or some sports, run around, things like that. When you're clingy, the guy's like, he stops doing things for you, which is fine. But at some point, he's going to pick it back up again. And that's when the girl doesn't realize, like, why has everything changed? We used to do all this stuff. Why is it different now? It's like, well, it's not. I just didn't do it. You didn't see it before. You know what I mean?
Because you're trying to be stubborn and try to set a point.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, anyway, let's.
No. What? What do you mean?
Well, because you're saying that you stop doing stuff, right? Because you feel like the other person is like pushing you towards it, and then you're just like, oh,
that's not what I was talking about. I was saying that before you meet a girl, I play basketball my whole life.
Yeah.
I do all these things. I go work out, and like when you first meet a girl, you drop all that shit because you want to spend all the time with a girl. And then now when you're comfortable, you're like, I need to go back out and play basketball. I need to go back out and work out. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah,
like,
that's
normal.
normal.
The girl doesn't know. She's like, why is he playing so much basketball? Why is he working out so much? He never did this before. I'm trying to say right now that women, we did these things before we met you. We just put it on hold to spend more time with you. So when we get back into our regular life, you can't get mad at that just because you didn't know that,
Yeah. Well, I think that's why these things should be communicated more.
Yes.
Because I feel like when I get into a relationship, I know about people's like hobbies and things that they like to do and stuff like that. So like,
guys need to call it out. So like when guys, don't be afraid, right? Like, don't be a bitch all the time when you're like, oh yeah, let's go hang out. I love hanging out with you every day. You got to be like, I love playing basketball today, but I'm going to hang out with you. So they know.
Yeah. Or another, like, kind of piggybacking off of that, I feel like another thing about being clingy, or another way of being clingy, is kind of like when you stop wanting to hang out with friends and you'd rather just like stay home or like be with your significant other.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a big balance between that.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Where one of them I mean, obviously, from my perspective, it's always the girl where she's like, I just want to stay home with you.
Oh.
And it's like, but I don't, can we go do something? Right?
What do you mean? Oh, like you want to do something with the girl rather than just stay at home. Is that what you're saying?
She just wants to stay home all the time.
Yeah. So, but so you would want to spend time with him, but you want to go out and do something.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Or even if you want to do something with your boys for one of the days.
Yeah.
Or even by yourself.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm talking about with being clingy is like, what if like the girl is like, hey, and this is an example for guys being clingy, right? It's like, why don't you go out with your friends? Go do this. You should go like catch up with an old friend. And they're like, no, I just want to stay home with you, or I just want to stay at home, or like do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, but you need your independence. Go do your stuff and have your own set of friends too, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing when like the girl drops everything for the guy.
Okay. So
Right.
it goes both ways.
Like, do you know how many people you see that are like, even on social media, you'll see like two girls, BFFs,
Yeah.
pictures all the time, ride or die. I love her. They hang out all day, all night, every day, lunch, dinners, whatever,
Right.
right? And the moment they get a guy, chirp, 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 they're gone. They're not. You don't see them being BFFs anymore, you know, and so that's weird to me.
Well, I guess it depends because, like, if you're BFFs with someone and, like, you don't have a significant other to worry about, like, you get to spend that time with them. But then once you get in that new relationship, you want to focus on the relationship, right? And then if that friend is so close to you, like, they would understand and be happy for you.
There's also the clingy friend.
What do you
in
mean the clingy friend?
relationships. There's always like that third wheel.
Oh, like the person that still wants to spend time and, like, be on the dates with you and hang out all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced those too.
Yeah, those are weird.
Those are weird to me. If I ever had to be the third wheel, I'm like, I'm not gonna do this ever again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, so do you think being clingy is something that's just small, or is it something that can actually hurt the dynamic?
I think it depends on the type of way that they're being clingy.
Like, do women think this is a small thing, or is it serious? Because as men, we take clingy as very serious. It's a big thing.
Yeah, I feel like it should be a big thing because I feel like it's usually an issue because like if the girl's too clingy, she's not really being independent enough, and she's like her. I guess the way she feels about the day or goes about things depends on how things goes with the relationship. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. So they're depending too much on their significant other, and then if the significant other also feels like she's being too clingy, then it kind of makes him maybe not be as attracted or like not like the person as much.
So when we're young as kids, these are the reasons why people break up with others. For
'Cause they're
these
too
little
clingy.
things.
Yeah.
All these little reasons. You know, but as you're older, you don't have those, you don't break up for stupid things like that.
Yeah, because I think when you get older, you become more independent because you are more aware of yourself. You've gone through so much. You have all this experience where you're just like, do your own thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
So that's why I was asking, you know, do women think clingy is like a whatever small type of thing?
I think back then, when you're younger, you kind of just feel like, oh, but I'm in love. Like, I just want to spend time all the time, right? But then as you get older, you're like, I don't need no man. Like,
Right.
I can do whatever I need to do. Like, I don't want to depend on anyone. Like, I want to go about my day and feel how I feel without having, like, the other person affected. What is
So
that?
is clingy a small thing or a big thing to you guys?
I would say it should be a big thing, but I'm saying back in the days and when you're younger, you're like freshly in love. Like I don't think girls know the difference yet because they're just so like invested in the relationship.
So girls are clingy because they want to take care of the man, right?
I think that's what they're taught to do in the beginning of relationships, like to be more nurturing. And then when you're younger like that too, guys appreciate that stuff more. Like you're talking about the feeding and making sure that you always have food. Like I don't think I've had guys be affected as much as you are from it. Like they never care and they'll be like, oh, okay, you know, and they'll do it back to me and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you haven't been this far with a guy before.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean,
like-
we've been together for like forever. So I think that makes the difference. It's like when you're with someone for so long, it just things that usually wouldn't get wouldn't affect you in the beginning of the relationship will start getting on your nerves because you're like, damn, can you just stop already?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop feeding you.
Like,
So
no, like you can feed me, but if I say no, that's it.
but you're
That's it.
so just think about it this way then, right? When you see the kids and you're like, hey, like you're always like, eat this, make sure you eat this, and then if they're like, no, I don't want it, wouldn't you be like, you better eat that, dude? It's good for you.
The difference is with the kids, we know that if they don't eat, they're going to be hungry. And if they don't eat, they're also not going to grow, right? And we know that our kids are on the small side. We go to the doctors, we have these issues, right?
Right.
For me, I'm not growing anymore.
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a kid. If I don't eat, I'll be hungry, but I'm not going to die.
You're not going to die, but it just goes back to health issues because I've gone through phases in my life where I'm like so busy doing other things. I forget to eat. I miss meals. And that's when I started getting all these like GI issues, right? And like, remember at one point when we were like dating, like I would always like have stomach issues and stuff. And like, I would always get stomach aches and cramps or whatever. And it's because I was not taking care of myself and I wasn't eating when I needed to.
What is the difference between someone who says, I'm too busy, I can't have lunch right now, to someone else who says, I'm fasting and I don't eat breakfast or lunch. My first meal is like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or
Well,
3.
yeah, that's different. But
How's that different?
because someone is doing it for a purpose. It's not like, oh, I'm too busy. Like, I'm just not going to eat.
But the person who's doing it for a purpose is doing it purposely every day.
Yeah, so that's a part of their routine. But sometimes it's like if you're not eating breakfast, I'm like, do you want something? Remember, this was something that came up too. I was like always offering you to eat breakfast and you would say no. And then eventually you're like, I eat breakfast with the kids. And I'm like, I didn't know that because I'm sleeping when you're doing that. Yeah. Right. So it's kind of like, because we don't know like, it's not a set thing that happens every day. It's not a part of your daily ritual. So
you also ask me the same breakfast every time that I don't want every time. And we've already talked about.
I just asked you twice this week because that's what I was making for myself.
And we've talked about in the past that I don't want that. So we're talking about these like English McMuffin sandwiches from Costco.
Yeah, and it's like the turkey frozen ones, the Jimmy Deans. They're so good.
Like, yeah, I love McDonald's like English McMuffins, right, with the sausage and all that egg. But like, I don't like it really at home, and we've discussed that. And so, every time you ask me, do you want a breakfast sandwich? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I guess the way that I see it is because I know you're working. So I'm like, all right, well, I can't make him waffles or anything else because he's going to need to like use his knife and fork to cut it and eat it. And it's so messy.
No, I think that if you interrupted me with like chicken and waffles, I'd be like, damn, all right.
Okay.
I'll stop for 5 minutes. Like, I don't want to breakfast
If I make
sandwich.
you chicken and waffles, it's going to take like an hour and it's going to be lunchtime by then.
Yeah, but I probably would have ate it.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like,
okay.
When I say I don't want a breakfast sandwich, I don't want one. And then like
ever?
Yeah, exactly.
How am I supposed to?
I don't like it.
Okay.
You're the one who buys it every time, not me, right?
Yeah.
And even this morning you said you want a breakfast sandwich, and I said no.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I ate yogurt. Today.
You're right by the garage door where our freezer is, and you're like, "Do you want a breakfast sandwich?"
That was yesterday.
No, it was this morning.
No, that was yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, it feels like it's every damn day that you ask me.
How rude.
But I don't know.
It just sounds like you need to communicate things because one person might see it one way and the other person might see it as another way.
Yeah, you're thinking today I don't want it. I'm saying like I rather starve than have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my question to that is it better to just not ask at all and let you figure it out on your own?
Don't ask if I want a breakfast sandwich.
That's not my question. So if that's what I'm making for myself, should I just let you do your breakfast on your own then? So instead of me asking it, then you taking it as being clingy?
If it's a breakfast sandwich, don't ask.
Okay.
But if it's like you want to make something else, sure, ask.
So then like if I don't ask you, would a guy take it as like she doesn't care? Or she doesn't want to?
No, because I don't want a breakfast sandwich.
All right, good. Okay, good. Good to know.
I don't want it.
I can save my energy then.
Yes, please.
All right.
Please, you're killing me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, how come women don't get that? Like, we got to get into this conversation.
It's because we don't have these conversations.
We do. You just don't realize it. I say I don't want it. I don't like it for like the last year. And you still ask.
Well, that's why I clarified. I was asking the wrong questions. Because I was like, he might still see it as caring. But anyway, moving on. Did you know that men are actually more vulnerable and dependent in relationships than women are? Because
Wait, what?
So
restate that.
So there is the fact that men are actually more dependent and vulnerable in relationships than women, because throughout the relationships, women have like their set of friends that they can talk to whenever they're having issues. So say if the relationship ends, it's harder for the guys to get over it because the guys don't usually talk about stuff like this. So then like, where are all their friends? Because they stop talking to their friends, and then like girls have those friends to go to when you break up, and the guys are just like, okay. No, because I felt like every time I've had a breakup with someone, like I felt like they would take it harder. And then for girls, it's always like, oh, I'm gonna go out with my girls, I'm gonna go to the club, I'm gonna go do this and hang out to like get over it.
You're talking about specifically when a girl breaks up with a guy?
Yeah.
So here's the difference already. When you break up with the guy wasn't expecting it, so now he doesn't have a way to really get over it because he still likes you. For you, as the one who's breaking up with a person, you're already over it. So you're going to go hang out with your girls and go party.
Yeah, but I feel like it's also the same even if a guy breaks up with the girl, because it's like I feel like it's still tough on the guy.
No, when the guy breaks up with the girl, he's also going out to party after.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just a fact.
The person who's over the other person is going out to have a good time after. The one who got broken up with is like, what the fuck just happened? And they're staying home and trying to figure out, how do I get this person back?
Maybe. Okay, that's probably the difference.
Yeah.
All right.
It has nothing to do with guy or girl. Are there other examples of women who think men are clingy?
Clingy,
like
maybe.
You said that guys wanted to spend a lot of time with you.
Yeah, I feel like maybe another clingy thing is like when guys are constantly giving you gifts.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think that's more so like in the beginning of the relationship, or it's not even a relationship, because I feel like in the like from past experiences, like there are always guys that I would talk to and we wouldn't be as serious, or we weren't even like established like boyfriend girlfriend, but then they're constantly like giving things to me and always thinking of me. Like, yes, I would appreciate that now if it happened, but back then it's like it seems clingy when they're like constantly trying to get stuff for you. Like everything that they do is revolved around you, and it's like, oh, I got you this today, and I got you this today, and this, and it's just like, oh wow, it's like too much. So I think when they're doing too much,
I do think that's weird.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, what I saw was the gangster guys that would do that, right?
Oh,
so the gangster guys are the ones that are like, they see the girl, yeah, I got this for you. Next day, I got this for you.
Yeah.
And it's always just those fools that do it.
I don't think it's only those guys. Like, I mean, guys in general.
None of the people that I hung out with really did that. But when I started hanging out with gangsters, that's the way they did it, and it was just weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Damn, fool! Like, you're looking a little weird right now. Like,
yeah, no, I think in general, like I've had a variation of guys who would do that. And I'm just like, oh, it's too much. Like, just showing that they care too much, or like when it's too soon, if that makes sense, or like even knowing that like there is no relationship, but like you are friends and you know that they like you, but you try to like respect that boundary and like, you know, set that boundary, but then they're still like, oh well, I still got this for you, like you're still my friend, and they get close to you and you're like, oh, like we're not like that at all.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the perfect balance.
I think when it comes to perfect balance, everyone has their own perception of what clingy would be and what a healthy boundary is. So I think it's just like
What do you like?
just communicating more. I think open communication. I think women thrive on that communication. So like for guys, I think their self-esteem is driven from like their career and things that they accomplish on their own and like just things that they can do independently. But for women, we thrive on like communication, being in a good environment, and like being on the same page with our significant others. And that's why women always want to talk about things, and they always want to talk about emotions, and they want to clear the air when there's issues because that does affect their environment.
Okay, so you're talking about what you want in a relationship.
Yeah.
I am asking in terms of clinginess, what would you like the guy to do and not do? What is too much? What is good? What do you wish the guy would do?
In terms of clinginess, actually, like what I was trying to say is that I think I should be more open about their communications with the women so that you both understand each other better, because the perception is always going to be like, oh, well, she's being clingy, when actually like these conversations that we've had, we probably should have had before and talked about it, instead of being like, oh, she's being clingy again, she's doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get the communication part. I'm trying to talk about like the physical stuff where it's like, do you want a guy to feed you? Do you want a guy to buy you stuff? How often should they do these things?
I mean, for me personally,
For all the guys that's listening right now and they're like trying to figure out the best way to cater to a girl.
But it's hard to say, because for me personally, like I wasn't the type of person who likes to be fed, like hand fed things. I like to, but I don't.
That's damn. If you don't like it, what makes you think I like it?
That's what I'm saying. When you're like, oh, like spoon to your mouth, I'm like, ew, I don't do that. But if I'm putting a bag of chips in your face, it's right there, or a bowl of popcorn, it's right there. But I'm not like, here you go, because that's weird to me.
Yeah, you do it sometimes.
Sometimes, because I'm like, this is my only option here. He probably doesn't want to get his hands dirty. You know, like you gotta think. See, this is what I'm talking about, the communication.
So
I don't know. It's just like having a healthy balance of not doing too much. Like if you want to give me gifts, like great, I appreciate it. But also at the same time, you know how I am too, where I'm like, I don't need these things. Like if you give it to me like on occasion or whatever it is, like I will appreciate it. But like you don't have to do that stuff for me. But everyone is different, because someone's love language might be gift giving, or whatever, you know? So it really depends on the person. And that's why it always goes back to communication, because you got to talk about it so you know what's a good way to not be clingy in the relationship.
So what I've come to conclusion on this episode is that we don't know what women want.
How do you not know if I'm telling you exactly what?
I mean, I just asked you and I didn't even get a clear answer.
Because it depends.
And that's what I'm saying. We don't know what women want.
You should know what your woman wants.
Yeah.
That's the difference. But I can't speak for women in general, because every woman is different.
Right. I'm just trying to help the guys that are listening right now, and I can't give them an answer. I'm sorry. Every woman is different, dude. So
I think in general, for men and women, just don't do too much. And
that's what I'm saying, though. What is too much and what is too little?
I think it's everything that we've talked about. Don't go catering to them hand and foot. I mean, but
okay. Here, I'm sorry for interrupting, but when you said communication, okay, now when we're younger and we have that communication, that's also like, why is this guy such a bitch? So like, so like, it's like this. If the guy goes, "Am I doing too much? Are you okay?"
Oh my gosh, yes. Another clingy thing, when guys are always like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Every other minute.
So you're asking for communication. The guy is giving it, but it's too much.
Yeah. So yeah, don't do too much of something. Like you can ask me or ask the girl if they're doing okay, but don't keep asking throughout the date, you know? So just don't do too much. You gotta like realize, you know? Like, yeah, it's
I think it's
well,
you're trying to communicate to find out who this person is and what they like.
yes.
That's it. But when you're communicating like boyfriend girlfriend, I'm trying to explain this the correct way. So like,
It's been a while.
if you're asking me if I want popcorn, and I say no, and then you try to put it in my mouth, and I say no, right here the real communication should say, you know, I don't like it when people do that, so please don't.
Yeah.
Right. That's finding out who this person is, the type of person they are, right? But then when it's like you're feeding the popcorn and they say no, and now you're wondering, oh, I mean, are you okay? You didn't like that? Are you
Yeah.
should I do a little bit, or I don't know. That's when it's
So
like
maybe that's how you see it, like when I'm feeding you, because you're like, dang, it's like a comparison of like me constantly asking, are you okay? Are you okay?
yes.
Maybe. Okay, I get it now because I understand that, so I get it.
Like it should just be one answer.
Just one. Yeah.
One no, one yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I guess I can't speak for what the other person can do to not be more clingy. But I think if you feel like you're being too clingy, some of the things that you can do is to like focus on yourself more.
Yes.
Keep yourself busy.
That's what people do is they forget to focus on themselves.
Right.
You are important. Stop worrying about the other person.
Yes, exactly.
That is great advice.
Yeah, just focus on yourself, keep yourself busy, and you won't have time to be clingy and worry so much about the other person. And if you have like an anxious attachment style in relationships, like you just gotta stop focusing on it and like try to change that. Yeah. Yep.
Damn. All right. Well, I hope you guys learned a lot in this episode. If you are the clingy person, stop fucking doing it.
Oh my gosh.
And if you are the one that's getting clinged on, you gotta let the person know.
You gotta just talk about it. I feel like every result of all the podcasts that we do, it always comes back to communication. Like that's probably the number one issue that all relationships have. It's communication.
Yeah, we should change the podcast name to Love and Rice with Your Mouth Open. So if you guys like this episode, please subscribe, give us a follow. Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, YouTube. I hope you guys have been enjoying these perspectives from us. We have a lot to give and a lot to share, and we love it. So write down in the comments what you want to hear from us. Anything that we can do to help you guys, and we'll catch you next time on the Love and Rice podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.